Welcome back to Real Conversations. Back to school season can hit families fast. New grades, new routines, and a shopping list that feels like it's never ends. And if you're doing it for 5 kids, that's a whole different level. Contributor Chasey Singleton talks with a mom of 5 who's found ways to shop smart, stay on a budget, and keep the pressure from taking over at home. Here's that conversation.
So we're going to start with 5 kids. Okay. That's what you have, right?
Yes.
Back to school shopping. I'm just going to let that sink in for a moment. What does this time of year feel like in your household?
This time of year can be a lot of pressure, Tracy. I'm not going to lie. My children range in ages from 3 being the youngest and 13 being the oldest, and a couple groups in the middle. So there's different fashions all the time. There's things that the little one wants, things that the older one wants. So it could be a little bit hectic, not only the school shopping for clothes, but school supplies and all the changes every year.
Right. So your older kids were in private school, and now they're transitioning to, so they had to wear uniforms. Mm-hmm. And now they're transitioning into a school where there is no dress code. They don't have to wear uniforms. Okay. What was that reality like for you, where now I have to buy clothes versus just buying uniforms?
Yeah. Well, they still are in a private school. This private school does not have a specific dress code. But the transition, it is something that we had to consider, because before our kids actually got into private school, we switched to get them in a uniform, just something that we wanted to do for our kids. Okay. Because of the area we lived in. A lot of kids, they were trend driven. Okay. We're not a trend driven type of family. We are very big on like core values and, respecting yourself. So not trying to be really big on a lot of the different fashions and styles that are happening. So for us, that transition was, what can we do to appease to what your style is, but still keep it simple, right, but not break the bank. So with the uniforms, we really loved it because there was always recycling. The schools, they will always do uniform resales and things like that. And so that always helped. But when you have 4 children and they're all growing at different ages, and I just say 4 children because I have 4 school-age children, they're all growing at different rates. So whereas my oldest son, he just had a growth spurt of like 5 inches within a couple months. It's like, okay, I could leave you in these pants, or I could try to go up to the next size. And so that's not always as simple. Whereas, some people, they can just easily wear sweatpants, and my children didn't have the sweatpant option, at their school. So now looking forward, we are excited to be able to allow the kids to wear sweatpants, a little bit more casual, a little bit more relaxed, but still look appropriate for school. Right. Absolutely.
So when you sit down and you actually do the math, what does back to school clothing cost for 5 kids if you're buying everything at retail price? What does that look like?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what retail price looks like. I'm gonna be honest, because I am a very savvy person when it comes down to money, when it comes down to what things cost. I am a red ticket item, yellow ticket item individual. I am going into stores and I might see something, a top or whatever, that might cost $30. I am looking for something similar to that on clearance that is well over 70% marked down, just to be honest. Sometimes, 90% marked down. So I don't know the cost of what it's like retail, because I do not.
You don't pay retail.
I usually don't pay retail prices.
I had 4 kids, and at one point in time, I would buy summer stuff in the winter when it was 90% off, and I would buy winter stuff in the summer and just put them up.
That is correct.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, good. So how do you make it work? Walk us through your actual approach, because we know it's not just getting one thing. It's getting multiple things at one time.
Yes. So my approach to preparing, it is the thing like you just said, buying out of season. Summertime is going to be over, but they have winter things on sale, on clearance right now. We all know winter is coming up, fall is coming up, so why not buy now? I am a buy it now, put it in a tote type of person, put it away, out of sight, out of mind. That way the closet flow is not so full, because kids, they can get very overwhelmed at times when there is too many options, so I am a type that will buy things, I will set it aside for them, so when that season comes up, they can have it. So that's the approach.
So hand-me-downs, because as you mentioned, you do have 4 boys, right? And the baby being the youngest one. They're a big part of a lot of family systems. How does that work in your house? Do the kids embrace it, or is there some negotiation that has to be involved?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it's some negotiation, like, hey, if you could just take these shirts from your older brother, I will get you new pants.
Right.
I would say with us having 4 boys and 1 girl, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because all of my boys have different body frames,
Okay.
different body types and different body builds. So I can't always pass down the pants to the next kid. Whereas sometimes the shirts, yes, they can last, but a lot of times kids, they wear them out anyways before the next kid could even fit into
Right.
them. But there are some things that absolutely we do pass down. As a matter of fact, on Sunday, my youngest son, which is 3, he had on an undershirt and it had a little tear on the up on the shoulder. And I was walking into church and I'm like, oh man, this shirt was my oldest son's when he was this age at 3. And I said, it made it all the way down. I said, after he takes it off, I'm gonna throw it away. It was still a good shirt, but I didn't realize it had the little tear on the shoulder. And luckily it was an undershirt, so no one else could see it.
So thrift shopping, it's become a real trend these days, especially for back to school. Is that part of your toolkit? And what has that experience been like with 5 different kids who probably all have different opinions?
As me being the parent, I do have to make the executive decision,
Right.
on what they get and what they don't. I kind of ask them basic questions. When we go shopping, what would you like? If they say sweatpants, okay, I'm looking for sweatpants. I am the type that, if you do like name brand, I will go for name brand in thrift stores. But it's not a top of the line, just have to get you all things name brand. I am looking for, what is the wash like? How durable are the materials in the clothes? And what's the longevity of these clothes? How many times can I wash them before I have to get rid of them? So there's a lot of things that I look into if I am going the thrift store route. Sometimes people thrift things that are still brand new with tags on.
Right.
And if they can fit my kids, yes, I do purchase them. If they can fit them later, I'll purchase them. And once again, put them in that tote and I'll store them for later. So we try to stay within what is not necessarily the trend, but what is, what is the time right now.
Right.
I'm not going to necessarily put my kids in something vintage. If vintage is the style, yes, we would go with the style, but thrifting is in the toolkit. Like I said, I do look for sometimes that are at thrift stores with the tickets still on it, like brand new items, durability in clothes, what is the style like, and things like that.
So with the older 2, and we've touched on this, that they're now transitioning to a school where there is no uniform required. Do you feel like there would be some pressure for the trendy, especially because they're older now, or do you feel like those core values of how you've been bringing them up will still stay with them?
Yeah, I would say for all 4 of them, because they all 4 of my older children, they are making that transition.
Okay.
The smaller 2, they're not necessarily in that boat for their age range where it's like, oh, well, you have to have the latest whatever. But for the older 2, I think because they're boys and they are athletes, they can get by with a more lax look.
Yes.
But once again, it is core values and how you build your kids up in the home to where you could be, dressed in a plastic bag and you could walk out the house and still have confidence. So as a parent, I love on my children. I make sure that they are confident regardless of what they're wearing, because not every person can afford the highest cost in things that are at that, retail price. There are some people who are just skating by, but I make sure that I instill in my children what the importance is as far as like them loving on other people and talking to other people, because we know kids do bully other kids when they cannot afford things. So for us, we make sure our kids are approaching other kids who may look like their clothes are kind of wore out, and just still loving on them regardless, because it's not what you're presented with what somebody has on, it's who that person is. Who are you behind everything else that I can see?
So what is your number 1 rule when it comes to back to school shopping that every parent should know?
Number 1 rule, I would say kind of just do your research. I'm a window shopper at times. If I have some leisure time, I might stop by a store just because it's on my way. But I also ask questions like, hey, when is the next sale coming out? Or what do you have right now? What kind of coupons should I be on the lookout for? The other thing that I do when it comes down to shopping is I come up with the budget and I say, okay, they have shirts for $5 right now. I know if I get them 5 shirts from here, I can get them jeans from somewhere else that might cost $3. It might cost $10. So I do look at that, but I have my core stores that I always shop at. There are some stores, for instance, like Old Navy. If you buy within a 1-year period, a clothing size that is for children only, you can bring those clothes back. It's in their clause, so they are able to return those clothes back. Once again, there's brands like Cat and Jack. I know
I've heard of that.
Yep,
one,
that is through Target. When you purchase through Target, Cat and Jack specifically, you have 1 year to also return those items, and they give it back to you on a gift card or a merchandise card, and you can also buy those same things, or you could buy whatever you choose. So there are certain things that I do as far as being able to make sure I get more bang for my buck. But also, some people, when they think thrift, they just think of like Goodwill or Salvation Army. But there's Plato's Closet, you know. So I do go in there for my older kids because they are with more of the trend for that age group that I do shop with.
So for a parent who is feeling overwhelmed, and I don't know of anyone that could not feel more overwhelmed than you with the 5 kids, but if they're feeling very overwhelmed by back to school shopping costs, this day and age, everyone has to kind of look at their budget a little bit different. What's the first thing that you'll tell them?
I'll tell them to relax and just buy a little bit at a time.
There you go.
A little bit at a time. Some people, they go out and they spend thousands and thousands of dollars in one trip. And I am not that type of person. It's a little bit at a time. I might go to the store today and I might see something that's within my budget and I have a couple of extra bucks and I'll buy it and I'll set it aside. I mean, there are some things that I'm pulling out the closet now that I may have bought 2 years ago. And my kids, they don't know that it's from 2 years ago. They don't really care. You know, they just want to know, does it fit? Does it fit? And that's the biggest thing, because kids, they grow so fast. So for that parent who is overwhelmed and they think they have to buy everything at one time, you don't have to buy it at one time, because, for instance, things go out of style very, very quick, for one. For 2, kids grow very fast. And for 3, clothes get ruined very, very quick. So I do not break the bank trying to buy everything at one time, but I am also big on ironing your clothes. You know, wash your clothes, treat your stains right away, rinse them out, you know, wash, fold right away while the laundry is still hot. So when you go to hang it up or put it in the drawer and pull it out, it still feels like it's a fresh or new shirt or pants or whatever that may be.
Okay, so last question. What's the one thing you wish someone had told you earlier that would have made back to school shopping less stressful for you?
You know what? I would say thank you to my mom for showing me what it was like to buy things and to save them for later. When I was growing up, there was layaway. There's not a layaway anymore. So you have to spend a little bit at a time. So for me in this season, it would just be buy a little bit at a time. Don't break your bank. Preserve the things that you have. Take care of them. Teach your children how to take care of them, but also instill in your kids confidence and a loving personality, because at the end of the day, those clothes are going to get ruined. You're going to throw them out. You might give them away, you know, or whatever, but who they are on the inside is what really matters at the end of the day.
Well, good words to live by for your last question. Thank you for coming with us today. Thank you for having a conversation, and good luck with back to school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for Real Conversations in the QC. Today we heard 2 big reminders. You can create your own style without breaking the bank, and you can also take the stress out of back to school by shopping with a plan, one step at a time. I'm Jasmine Butler. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Real Conversations in the QC is sponsored by Accentra Credit Union.